Hi, I'm Lisa. Let's continue our series of listening to native speakers in Los Angeles talking about their jobs. We will analyze the expressions they're using. I will teach you the meaning of those expressions, and I will give you sample sentences so that you can practice using them in different contexts. That's the true path to fluency, being able to use the expressions that native speakers use. In addition, we will talk about some rules of English pronunciation and the American accent. Would you like to speak like a leader? Would you like to develop leadership skills at work? You will listen to my conversation with an executive coach. His name is Sullivan, and this is part 2 of my conversation with him. In this part, he will talk about what it takes to be a leader, which qualities people need to have. In addition, he will give you some very valuable tips on how to practice being a leader or how to practice other things, such as improving your accent or improving your English. I think this video will really inspire you. In the first clip that you will watch, Gene talks about employee relationships and how they change when one person gets promoted. Let's listen to the conversation, and then we will talk about some expressions that he was using, and we will talk about some pronunciation rules.
The people who used to be their buddies are now people that are following their direction, right? So it's a very different dynamic in the relationship. And if they're not good at bringing people along to their kind of ideas, if they're a little bit dictatorial, that causes a lot of problems. Because now the person that they were just a peer with is being told what to do.
Right.
By somebody who was their peer a day or two ago.
That must be really challenging.
It's very challenging.
Listen carefully to how Gene pronounced the word buddies.
The people who used to be their buddies are now people that are following their direction.
Be careful about the pronunciation of the vowel sound of this word. We have the word buddies, but we also have the word bodies. So it's buddy, body. Some of my students confuse these two words and they pronounce them the same way. So we have an sound and an sound. The same thing happens with the words luck and lock. Do you hear the difference? It's and luck, lock. Also, fund, fond, gut, got, shut, shot. These are different sounds. English vowel sounds can be tricky, and they're probably more difficult than in your language. So if you would like to learn all of the American vowel sounds so that you can pronounce words correctly, in addition to the consonant sounds and rhythm and melody and word stress, make sure that you get my American accent course. You can get the course by going to my website, accurateenglish.com. Let's go on to the next word. Let's listen to the pronunciation of the word dictatorial.
And if they're not good at bringing people along to their kind of ideas, if they're a little bit dictatorial, that causes a lot of problems.
Gene said, if they're a little bit dictatorial, that can cause a lot of problems. And you know what a dictator is, right? Let's pronounce that word correctly. Dictator. We stress the A, dictator. But listen to this one, dictatorial. Dictatorial. So the A is reduced in this case, and we stress the O. Let's say that again. Dictatorial. If someone likes to tell people what to do and they expect people to obey their orders and they're not very nice about it, they are dictatorial. We can also say they're bossy. You can tell someone, stop being so dictatorial. Stop being so bossy. You can also say, stop bossing me around. You can say, the older brother used to boss the little brother around. He always bosses people around. He's so dictatorial. The next word is peer. Let's listen to the way Gene used it.
Because now the person that they were just a peer with is being told what to do.
Right.
By somebody who was their peer a day or two ago.
Gene said the person they were just a peer with is being told what to do. And your peers are the people who have the same job as you. They are at the same level as you are, or the same age, or the same social class. People who are equal to you. Let's look at another common vowel sound mistake. We have the word peer, but how do we pronounce this word? Sometimes my students say peer for this one also, but that's not correct. This is a pair. Just like bear, the EA is often A, but the problem is sometimes it's also E. For example, deer or tear. And as I said, English vowel sounds are confusing. Let's get back to the word peer. Let's make a sentence. We can say, she's 11 years old and she's already taller than all her peers. And that means all the other children her age. Those are her peers. And we can use the word peer in a professional situation like this. We can say, he's an excellent scientist and he's respected by all of his peers. In the next clip, I asked Gene to give us some tips on how to become good leaders. Let's listen to his answer, and then I'll come back and I'll teach you some more expressions. Can you give us some tips about how to be a more effective leader if someone doesn't have an opportunity to get training from someone like you? Can you offer us some tips? How can we be better leaders?
The thing that's hardest to really impress upon people how important it is, it's the ability to listen. Not only the ability to listen, but to set our own biases aside, which are hard to see sometimes. So,
can you give me an example of a bias someone might have?
I have a client who originally came from Egypt, and he's been very successful in his career here. And he was asked the question as he was going to become a manager, he was asked the question, how would you deal with a scenario where you've got an older employee and a younger employee? And he explained how he would treat them differently. Because in his culture, you give respect to the elder person. And it's perfectly appropriate to treat them differently out of that desire to respect the elder person. And it didn't do him very much good with the HR people here in the U.S. People who are coming from other cultures can have difficulty, in knowing all the nuances of our culture, just as people from the U.S. who are working with other cultures need to understand the nuances of the culture that they're working in.
It's complicated.
It does get complicated, yes.
Let's listen to the way Gene used to impress upon.
The thing that's hardest to really impress upon people how important it is, it's the ability to listen.
Gene said the hardest thing to impress upon people is how important it is to have the ability to listen. To impress upon is to stress or to emphasize a point, to make sure that someone learns or remembers something, to make someone aware of something important. You can say, I need to impress upon you the seriousness of this situation. Or we can say, the parents tried to impress the importance of education upon their children. Let's listen to the way he pronounced ability to listen. Listen to those two T sounds.
It's the ability to listen.
He didn't say ability to listen. He said ability to listen. Repeat after me. Ability to listen. Let's listen to the way he said to set our own biases aside.
Not only the ability to listen, but to set our own biases aside, which are hard to see sometimes.
He said not only the ability to listen, but to set our own biases aside, which are hard to see sometimes. A bias is an opinion of whether something is good or bad. It's judging a person or a group or an idea. So when you set your bias aside, you make an effort not to judge people or situations that might influence you. Bias is a noun, but we can also use it as an adjective. We can say he is biased or he is unbiased. In the courtroom, they look for unbiased jurors. The next expression is to do someone good.
And it didn't do him very much good with the HR people here in the U.S.
And Gene said it didn't do him very much good with the HR people. To do someone good is to benefit someone, to be helpful. So you can say it can do him good, it can do her good. It will do you good. So if it didn't do him very much good at work, that means it was bad for his reputation at work. You can say to someone, you're working so hard. A vacation will do you good. Gene said it didn't do him good with the HR people. And just in case you don't know what HR is, it's human resources. Human resources is a department within a company, and this department is responsible for hiring people and training people. You can say, someone from HR at Google called me for a job interview. I asked Gene if he thinks that some people are natural-born leaders. I think the clip you're about to watch will inspire you because it doesn't just relate to leadership, it also relates to learning languages. Let's watch, and then I will come back and I will teach you the expressions. Are some people natural-born leaders even though they're an expert in their field? They get promoted and they know what to do.
I do not subscribe to the natural-born anything.
Really?
Yeah. There are people who are raised in a particular way, which lends them to have developed skills which are useful as leaders. But mostly it comes from practice and learning how to develop the skills. And often that comes from early in their career when they make a big mistake or they run into a wall a couple times with the same behavior and the same mindset. That's, I need to change this. So natural-born leaders, not so much. And most of the research supports the fact that that's not the case.
Really?
Yeah. There's a whole body of research around what's called deliberate practice and the development of talent. And basically what it says, and it's pretty convincing, is that there are no born prodigies. That if you look at all the prodigies, that in fact those prodigies were raised by teachers of the particular thing they're a prodigy in. So for instance, Beethoven's father was a music teacher and accomplished in his own right. And he started training him from the time he was, I think, 4 or even earlier. Right? So it's the amount of practice that you put in that determines how talented you are. Same with sports and the same with management.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant's father was a basketball player. Tiger Woods' father was a golfer, wasn't he?
Exactly. Tiger Woods is the classic example. From the time he was 3 years old, his father was consistently having him practice golf.
So therefore, it sounds to me like no one should say, I'm not the leader type.
Exactly. People may not want to do the work that they in particular have to do to become a leader.
Right.
But everyone can become a leader.
And that's true of almost everything in life, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. If there's anything that I think is not well understood, it's this whole thing about practice. That we can develop our skills to really levels that we never thought possible by putting in the practice.
What do you do to encourage people who feel like they're never going to be good enough to be leaders?
First of all, they have to want to be leaders. Now, it's okay that they think that they're never going to be leaders, but if they have the desire to be leaders, that's something to work with.
Yeah.
Because as a coach, right, I'm not really educating people as much as I am helping them develop the capabilities to do the thing they want to do. And that's the key to coaching as compared to almost any other discipline like teaching. They have to want to do it. I know it's the same in your field.
Yes.
Right? The people who are really motivated, they have something at stake for them, will put in the time, will put in the effort, much more than the people who have to do it.
That's right.
It's been imposed from the outside.
That's really powerful. That's absolutely true.
I work with a lot of technology companies. I enjoy working with them. One of the reasons is the folks in there are pretty smart.
Yeah.
And if I introduce a new concept, which I'm often introducing a new concept, they can pick it up pretty quickly. And also, because I do a lot of emotional intelligence work, it's a rich field for doing that because most of the people in that field have gotten their success based on their cognitive skills, not their emotional skills. And we talked about becoming a manager. And when you become a manager, your emotional skills become more important than your technical skills.
So it sounds like if we want to be leaders, we can be leaders, and we should follow our dreams if that's what we want to do.
Absolutely. And it's great to have a coach because a coach is generally someone who understands the territory that you're going to travel through and has seen a lot of the problems. So I've probably coached people through thousands of difficult conversations, whether it's about a raise or whether it's about some other problem with a project. Having someone who's already sort of seen that or taken other people through it is really helpful.
How do people get in touch with you?
The best way for people to get in touch with me is send me an email. My email address is Gene, Gene, @GeneSullivanCoaching.com.
Oh, great. And you are available for one-on-one coaching and corporate group coaching.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Lisa.
You probably know the verb to subscribe, but the way Gene used it has another meaning. Let's listen to the way he said, I don't subscribe to.
I do not subscribe to the natural-born anything.
Gene said, I do not subscribe to natural-born anything. If you subscribe to an idea, you agree with it, you support it. And if you don't agree with it, you can say, I don't subscribe to it. You can say, I don't subscribe to that belief. I don't subscribe to your pessimistic view of the economy. There's something that I read that's related to marketing a product, and it said, is it a brand that I feel represents me and it has values that I subscribe to? And another one in Forbes magazine said, I believe in a free economy and I subscribe to that philosophy very strongly. I'm sure you know the verb to lend, but it also has another meaning. Let's listen to the way Gene used it.
There are people who are raised in a particular way, which lends them to have developed skills which are useful as leaders.
He said, which lends them to develop skills. We usually use it like this, to lend itself, and that means to be suitable for something, or to cause something to be, or to cause something to happen. Here are some examples that I found online with to lend itself. Skiing lends itself to a safe COVID-19 sport because we are wearing gloves. We, for the most part, have face coverings on. The nature of skiing and snowboarding means you can't get too close to somebody. Here's another example. This latest fight over access to vaccines highlights just how difficult it is for a bloc of 27 countries to remain united under pressure and how the system lends itself to internal conflict. Do you know the expression to run into a wall? Do you have a similar expression in your language? Let's listen to the way Gene used it.
Or they run into a wall a couple times with the same behavior and the same mindset.
Gene said when they run into a wall a couple of times. We can also say to run into a brick wall or to run into a stone wall. And that means to reach a point when a problem seems impossible to solve. To encounter a barrier or an obstacle that stops you in your effort, that stops you from making further progress. We were making good progress on the project, but we ran into a wall when they cut our budget. Let's listen to how some other people used it.
So that's what I was building, but I felt like I ran into a wall one day. I couldn't quite figure out what to do.
Okay, I ran into a wall regarding some specifics.
Let's listen to the expression body of research.
There's a whole body of research around what's called deliberate practice and the development of talent.
Gene said there's a whole body of research around what is called deliberate practice and the development of talent. A body is a large amount of something, especially something that has been collected. So we can say a body of research, a body of work, a body of knowledge, or a body of evidence. A growing body of evidence shows that this medication can have long-lasting side effects. Do you know the word prodigy? Let's listen to Gene.
And basically what it says, and it's pretty convincing, is that there are no born prodigies. That if you look at all the prodigies, that in fact those prodigies were raised by teachers of the particular thing they're a prodigy in.
Gene said that research shows that there are no born prodigies. A prodigy is a very talented child. People consider that child a genius. You can see the talent when the child is very young. That child is a prodigy. You can say she was a musical prodigy, giving concerts at the age of 7. Gene said that research shows that most prodigies were raised by teachers of that specific subject. I thought that was interesting. What do you think about that? Let's go to the next expression. Let's listen to the way he said, accomplished in his own right.
So for instance, Beethoven's father was a music teacher and accomplished in his own right.
The expression is in one's own right. He said Beethoven's father was a music teacher and accomplished in his own right. Accomplished means successful in a particular field. And in his own right means not because of a connection to anyone else, by his own effort, by his own talent. You can say, before she married the president, she had already become successful in her own right. Let's listen to how some other people use this expression.
He is also a very distinguished scholar in his own right, and even as a scholar, he wears several different hats.
Now, this technique is named after the physicist Richard Feynman, who was, in his own right, a great scientist.
Let's listen to the way Gene used to put in.
So it's the amount of practice that you put in that determines how talented you are. Same with sports, and the same with management.
Gene said, it's about the amount of practice you put in that determines how talented you are. To put in is the amount of effort you spend doing something, such as exercise or work. It's the effort that you put in, and you can use it like this. My job is hard. I put in 10 hours a day. And by the way, how much time do you put in studying English? All right, let's go on to the next expression. Let's listen to the way he used at stake.
The people who are really motivated, they have something at stake for them, will put in the time, will put in the effort, much more than the people who have to do it.
Gene said, people who are really motivated, there's something at stake for them. If something is at stake, there is a risk involved, a risk that something may be won or something may be lost. Something that you value that you might lose if you're not successful or if you don't achieve your goal. We can say, if you're not careful, your job might be at stake. And that means you might lose your job. Think hard before you make that big decision. Your whole future is at stake. This project that I'm working on must go perfectly. My big promotion is at stake. When people have a lot at stake, they're willing to work hard. Is anything at stake for you if you don't improve your English? Maybe a job or a promotion or getting accepted to a good university? Having a lot at stake makes people work hard. Let's go to the final expression. Let's listen to the way he used pick up. Pick up has many different meanings. Let's see if you know this one.
And if I introduce a new concept, which I'm often introducing a new concept, they can pick it up pretty quickly.
He said, if I'm introducing a new concept, they can pick it up pretty quickly. What does that mean? To pick up something means to learn something. I would like to pick up the guitar. As we just learned from Gene, if you'd like to become a leader, including a leader in an English-speaking work environment, you can definitely do it. You just have to practice a lot. And here's a quote on leadership that I really like. Leaders think and talk about solutions. Followers think and talk about problems. Which one do you want to be, a leader or a follower? If you work hard and you're solutions-oriented, you can definitely be a leader. Thanks for watching and keep practicing your English. To get the 2 courses, the American Accent course and the 400 advanced words you must know for fluent English, go to AccurateEnglish.com.